Hey everybody, this is Richard with Downgrid Survival. So let's talk about a couple things. If you followed my channel for a while, you know I don't like to fearmonger. I don't like to hype. I don't like to talk about conspiracy theories. But sometimes there are things that just need to be discussed. And today is one of those times. I just want you to be on alert. I want you to be warned that I think something is amiss again. And I do think something's going to happen soon. And here's a couple of reasons why. One, it's been kind of quiet for a little bit, but the midterm elections are a month away. And if you've noticed, like I've noticed, I'm not seeing a lot of campaigning. Okay, I'm not seeing a lot of campaigning by people on the left, the party that is losing, the party that has made such a mess of things, the party that is pretty much destroyed everything that we love and believe in. There's not a lot of campaigning going on. Why is that? Is it because they're guaranteed to win? Is it because they know they're going to win because the elections are rigged again? Is that the possibility? Could be. I don't know. But it's not just that that's amiss, okay? There's a lot of things going on that you just don't hear about much anymore because our attention has been diverted. Let's look at supply chain and the shortages, okay? I'm starting to see more shortages in my area now. Not a lot. But every time I go to the grocery store, I'm starting to see more and more empty shelves and things starting to unfold here. And I haven't seen that before. Now, part of it could be that we just had the devastating Hurricane Ian come through just 40 miles south of here. And there's just thousands and thousands of people who have come to this area from other places to help out and to try to rebuild, that sort of thing. And so they're taking up a lot of extra supplies and food, and so I get that could be part of it. But there's everything that's going on in Ukraine right now. You don't hear about that much anymore, but it's still the fighting is getting intense, and the fighting continues. And just this past week, Putin annexed 4 territories. He declared that 4 territories are now part of the Russian Federation, and that's going to end badly for a lot of people. Now the fighting that's taking place in their eyes, taking place on Russian territory. So things are going to change there just a little bit, I would imagine. You've got his number 3 man that is calling for the use of tactical nuclear weapons on the battlefield. We've all heard about the conscription of hundreds of thousands of troops in Russia because they're losing so badly. We've got billions and tens of billions of dollars now that has been sent over there for Ukraine's use to support the effort by the United States and other countries. Yet there's been 2 reports now come out of Ukraine where people are saying we're not really seeing the money, we're not seeing the impact, we don't know where all this money is going. But it's not here. It's not in the form of supplies and weaponry because we're just not seeing it. So where's all this money going? There's tens of billions of dollars, probably hundreds of billions now, being sent over there, and nobody really knows where this money is going. Okay, it's supposedly going to Ukraine. Maybe it's not. We know the president of Ukraine is corrupt himself. He's heroic on the battlefield. He's got a good image on TV. He's talking about all these things, so people really flock to him. But we got to remember, he's corrupt too. He put his political rivals in jail. He's declared a one-party government. There's just things are not on the up and up there. So he could be in on something. I'm sure 10% is coming back to the big guy. Where a big chunk of the rest of it is going is anyone's guess, but I suspect there's secrets. There's secret things going on somewhere that's being funded. We've seen this in the 80s. We've always seen it. There's always been money that the government would earmark for a particular thing, but what really happens is that money is then transferred or funneled off to secret projects to fund those. So what secret projects are going on out there that needs all of these billions and billions of dollars? Something's amiss there. Recently, we've had a couple of developments recently that is alarming. We've got the Nord Stream pipeline sabotage and the rumors that are now swirling around that the U.S. government is somehow involved in that. Just touched on that in another video. So that's very good, very possible with the corruption level of corruption we see here in the United States government. Look and consider how hard they've pushed NATO and pushed the war in Ukraine and really stoked the fire and stoked the fire and stoked the fire, really causing havoc. Then you've got everything that went on in China and all the pushback and all the provocation that they've been doing over there, and sending Pelosi and other dignitaries to Taiwan, and really getting things riled up over there. Now we've got the Poseidon, the Russian nuclear submarine, high-tech submarine, that has gone missing this week. Okay, they lost track of it. They don't know where it's at. Not the Russians, but the American spy agencies. They lost track of it. It left port. They don't know where it's at. And this thing is equipped with some pretty high-tech weaponry. And one is to cause a tsunami. Now, a tsunami can be attributed to a earthquake, right? But so they have the capability to create a man-made tsunami, but blame it on an earthquake, which is a very real possibility. And so, you know, that's something to be concerned with. Just last night, the President of the United States, the illegitimate president, was in an interview, bumbling through it, and he made the comment about we're close to nuclear Armageddon. Now, why would he say this? He's comparing it to the Cuban Missile Crisis, which, if you're familiar with that, we were literally minutes away from nuclear Armageddon there. But he's referring it to the nuclear missile crisis, or excuse me, the Cuban Missile Crisis, and he's saying we are very close to nuclear Armageddon. And he just said that in an off-the-cuff remark, you know. But this is how a lot of the information comes out of old Joe. He speaks when he's not supposed to, and a lot of the stuff that comes out of his mouth are just made up stories and lies, but occasionally something slips out that makes you think, hey, wait a minute, what's going on here? So another thing that I'm sure you probably noticed, and that is there's a lot of YouTube channels that are historically really level-headed. I won't say timid, but they just kind of focus on, you know, certain aspects of prepping. And now all of a sudden they're talking about nuclear preparedness, and they're really kind of pushing the issue. One of them that comes to mind is Provident Preppers, a good Latter-day Saint family. Their focus is mostly on food storage, and some emergency supplies and various things. And they've released numerous videos here recently talking about nuclear war, nuclear preparedness. And to see a straight-up level-headed family like that, all of a sudden talking about nuclear concerns, and they're just one. There's other ones too that all of a sudden they're jumping on this bandwagon talking about nuclear Armageddon. And you know, some YouTube channels, they do this, and I've done it too. You see a topic that is trending, it's something that people are researching, something people are wanting information on, and you collect your information, your thoughts, and you make a video about it. And you know, I've done it too. It's part of how we grow our channels and get information out there that people are actually looking for. But it's different when you see you know, large channels already got a good following, got good viewership on all their videos, level-headed, typically don't touch on the subject, and all of a sudden they're talking about it. So that's a little alarming too. But when you take all this stuff in the account and you bring it all together, and then you look at what we're facing and what's going on around us, it just makes you wonder if something big isn't about to kick off. You know, we've been close to NATO, the NATO proxy war with Russia. We've got Europe that is running out of fuel, and it's starting to get cold over there, and it's going to continue to get colder over the next few weeks and months. And so there's that concern about what's going on in Europe, and the food shortages that are taking hold across the world, and you got riots and people that are standing up to their governments and protesting and rioting in the streets, and you know, it's people have had enough. They're starting to push back, but that's just going to cause governments to come back on them even harder. We know all these things are by design. We know all this has been it's just part of the World Economic Forum plan. That's not conspiracy. That is proven. It's in their handbook. You know, the United States has to fall. Other countries around the world have to fall and get out of the way so that they can push their agenda. and that they can stand up one government that everybody bows to. It's getting closer. It's getting closer. You know, several months ago, I put out a prediction, and you just kind of talked about a year, 18 months from now. That's out the door. I really think we're going to see significant changes. I'm talking about partial society collapse, partial government collapse, war. We're going to see all that here in the very near future. Could be by the end of the year. The way things are going, the way things keep escalating, it's anyone's guess at this point. All we can do is prepare for it. What can you do to prepare for these things? Like I've been saying, and other YouTubers have been saying for months now, buy food. Food is your number one asset right now. Sure, you can go out and buy defense tools, but there's only so many of those that you need to have, you know. You can buy, you know, other, you know, medical supplies and things of that nature. You need these things. Do you need a bug out bag? Do you need camping gear? Do you need these types of things? Only if you truly plan to take off on foot. And let's face it, most people can't. Most people have families, they can't take off on foot. So that really isn't a viable plan for you. Most people, the viable plan is to stay where you are and hunker down and try to survive that way. I do know a lot of people live in large population centers. You know, you live in large cities. Yeah, you need to get out if you can. But those are the kind of things you need to be doing to prepare. You need to take your money out of the stock market. You need, if you're lucky enough to have money in the stock market, you need to take money out of your banks and not leave it sitting there, because one day you're going to wake up and it's going to be gone, and you're going to have a digital currency that the government is going to tell you when and where you can spend your money on, and you're going to lose complete control of it. Take that money out, buy stuff that has value that you can resell later at a higher price. There's no reason for you to be sitting on money in the bank when you could have money tied up in food, or you can have money tied up in gold or silver or you know, any number of other things that is going to have real value in a very short amount of time. These are just some of the things you can do to prepare. Hey, this video is getting long, but I just wanted you to know that something's amiss, and you know, something has been amiss for the last 2 years, and we know what all that is. But something else about to pop. I really believe something else is getting ready to pop. So be ready for it. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.